Hi, my name is Mary. The person Martina was actually speaking of is my son, Nicholas. He's 25 years old. He was hit by a car 5 years ago while visiting a friend in Boston and suffers from traumatic brain injury. What amazes me is I have people in Boston who have never seen Nicholas, who don't know anything about Nicholas, deciding what is best for him, hours-wise, with the PCA program. They did cut his hours, although Stavros advocated for him all the way for an increase of hours. Nicholas can do nothing for himself. He cannot feed himself, he cannot dress himself, he cannot toilet himself. He does absolutely nothing for himself. But I have an attorney in Boston and nurses in Boston telling me that he doesn't need the hours. It's okay, Mrs. Day, if he sits in his own urine, if he doesn't eat, if he doesn't drink. By cutting his hours, that's exactly what they are doing. The PCA program is a wonderful, wonderful program. Unfortunately, it doesn't work right. They don't look at individual cases. They look at a box that says, if you have a TBI, you get A, B, and C. No one knows how to look outside that box and say, there might be an X, a Y, or a Z. And that's the thing I find most disturbing. Nicholas lost his life. He was on a full academic scholarship. He had a 3.98 average. He was a pre-law major, and it's gone in a split second. But nobody ever looks at anything beyond that. The PCA hours are the only thing that Nicholas gets. He doesn't get housing allowance. He doesn't get anything else. He gets his PCA hours. My husband and I work. We depend on those hours. We also have a younger child that has different needs. But without the hours, we're constantly having to say, we can't do that for you. We're also having to tell Nick, you can't have that. You can't do that. The hours are cut. The hours are cut. And what scares me is what happens to Nicholas if something happens to us. We don't want him in an institution. We promised him that we would never do that to him. As long as we could keep him home, we would keep him home. And he does know the whereabouts. He does have, you know, some knowledge of different things. But I will not put him in an institutional. As long as I live. I will sell my soul to the devil before that ever, ever, ever happens. But without the hours, what do I do? What do we do? And Nick's not the only one. Another thing is he has to be evaluated on an annual basis. His condition isn't going to get better. I would gladly agree if every year they had to come out and reevaluate Nicholas, if every year he got better and better and better. But that's not the case. It's only going to get worse and worse and worse. So what scares me is we're going to do an evaluation every year, and someone in Boston who's never seen him, who doesn't know anything about him, is going to say, he doesn't need that. He's not eligible for that. How can that be? Now, when he was at Spalding in Boston, I had someone from the state come out and told me, Mrs. Day, don't worry about it. If you make Nicholas a ward of the state, we will take care of him. What mother, father, would make their child a ward of the state? And who humanly, with a heart, would ever say something like that? I ask and I beg that you really, really take a look at the PCA program. The way the approvals are done, you know, the time turnaround, just everything. It doesn't work. And there's a lot of people, and it's not just Nicholas, there's a lot of other people out there suffering. He's a victim, plain and simple. Wrong place, wrong time. And I want him to stay home. He wants to be home. But he can't if we keep cutting his hours. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Thank you.
Thank you.